Richard Garriott, or Lord British if you prefer, says most game designers really just suck. Leave your comments below, but first, my opinion. I'm Tarmack and this is Feature Creep. You know, I have really good memories of Ultima. I think if I had to nail down the true pinnacle of the Ultima series, it would be 7, the Black Gate. From Serpent Isle through Pagan and Ascension, the whole ball of wax really started to melt, though, in my humble, non-game designer opinion. Special exception does have to be given to what could well be considered the grandfather of MMOs, Ultima Online, one of the few MMOs to actually permit persistent in-world housing. I should back up a little bit though. Richard Garriott is a unique type of game developer. He's the antithesis to Peter Molyneux. Molyneux is willing to try anything under the sun, while Garriott pretty well found one cool idea and milked it for nearly his entire career. And the Ultima series was hugely popular, don't get me wrong. He moved on then to Lineage and Lineage 2, while EA ground the bones of Origin Systems to dust. The sequel, still in operation over at NCSoft, and followed that by City of Heroes and Villains, commonly lauded as the most repetitive MMO ever created. And finally, Tabula Rasa, which was a steaming pile of MMO horse manure that closed a year and 4 months after it launched. So there we have the history of a game developer who used to put out great content. Recently, Mr. Garriott did an interview with PC Gamer. I take issue with his comment, which I will quote to you now. I've met virtually no one in our industry who I think is close to as good a game designer as I am. I'm not saying that because I think I'm so brilliant. What I'm saying is I think most game designers really just suck, and I think there's a reason why. He then goes on to explain that game designer is the job that people who can't code and can't draw end up doing after they finish a stint in quality assurance. Now, it must be assumed that since Garriott is such a public figure, he's met a fair number of people in the game industry, so to say that he's met virtually no one close to as good as him is most certainly insulting to virtually every designer he's ever met, barring Roberts, Wright, and Molyneux, which he mentioned by name. Note that he didn't concede anyone was better than him. If nothing else, it does display the rather infamous Lord British ego hard at work. To then qualify the statement by saying that it's not because he's good, but rather because they are all terrible, is a superhuman leap in the direction of ignorance. Now, the point about designers being people who can't code or draw does have a smidge of merit, because designer and producer are the main positions in development that people who aren't programmers or artists have some access to. It, however, does not by any stretch of the imagination mean that design never takes people from art or programming. I've worked at the pre-EA merger BioWare, and in my short intern tenure there, I met and worked with some very, very good game designers. It's an incredible amount of fun picking their brains on various aspects of design. One cannot escape the basic premise that a game designer is responsible for the design of the game. This simple observation means that it is design that is almost exclusively responsible for putting the fun into games. So to say that virtually all game designers suck would by standard logical correlation indicate that virtually all games suck, which is patently false. Ultimately, what we have here is a game designer of old with permanent rose-colored glasses that hasn't been involved in the design of a game since 1998. He's credited with producer roles beyond that year. He's unable to acknowledge the skill and ability of designers in the industry now and seeks to use his Kickstarter to propel all of us back in time to the glory days of Ultima. Clearly, Garriott has an opportunity to ensure that his foot isn't surgically placed into his mouth. His recently funded Kickstarter for Shroud of the Avatar Forsaken Virtues had better be amazing. He even put Avatar in the title. Oy. With all the praise he's heaped upon himself, he won't have anyone else to blame if it sucks. At least Molyneux has the spine to try something new from time to time. So, am I out to lunch, or did this interview rub anyone else the wrong way? Leave me a comment below. That's all I have to say. Tarmack out.